Yes, we can hear you, but
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, see my camera?
yep, it's clear.
Okay. Javelin, can you please screen it? Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, lecturers and my fellow classmates. We are ID10T, and this is our pitch presentation for Falcon Guys. These are our members. Next. For Falcon Guys, you play as a ghost, a friendly ghost, who helps workers to get back to back. It is a bite-sized puzzle game where the levels can range from as low as 2 minutes and as much as 5 to 7 minutes. So those levels, you have to solve obstacles in the path of the sleepwalker for them to get to bed. So for references, we took a look at Goodnight Mr. Snoozleberg for inspiration for the concept, Lara Croft for inspiration for the gameplay, and Crossy Roads for art style. Our unique selling point are quick decision making, so we have to complete the obstacles of the sleepwalker before they get to it, so they don't harm themselves. And then multiple decisions. So let's say there's a puddle on the floor that you have to wipe. So you have to find the right thing for it. So you want to find a cloth, like a piece of cloth to wipe the puddle instead of finding something like a plastic bag, which is the wrong thing. So in those puzzles, you want to find the right solution for the right thing. And then finally, we have Malaysian theme, different ethnicity. So we want to tap into the uniqueness and the flavor that Malaysia has that really a lot of other settings don't have with like American cities and British countrysides. We want to tap into what's unique here. These are our forms of fun. So problem solving, like I said before, players will need to solve the problem within before the sleepwalker gets there. Discovery, so players will need to look for the right solution in levels to solve the problem. So they will have to manipulate the camera and from certain angles you won't find the right thing, so you have to manipulate and find it in the environment. And then finally, feel of danger, where the sleepwalker will walk into dangerous situations, and the players will have to solve those situations for the sleepwalker to get away. And this is an example of a level layout, a simple level layout for tutorial or level one. So it is a one-story condominium slash flat. So on the top left there, you can see there's a path from the couch to the bed, and that is an example of the path a sleepwalker will take up. And then in between, um, from the couch to the bed, there will be obstacles put in place, so like locked doors, puddles, things like that. So, and then you can see the 3D view is an example of an in-game view. So we'll get to that in more detail later. And then because you'll be interacting with a lot of the environments directly, so there won't be a lot of UI, but we still have some UI for the player. First of all, is a replay button. So if the player makes mistakes and you want to reset the level, you can do that. There's a menu button for pausing the game and accessing the settings, as well as two buttons to the right and to the left to adjust the camera. And this is the game flow. So from the start, your main menu, you can enter a level, then do the puzzle. Then if the sleepwalker arrives safely, you can proceed to the next stage. If not, you can start the level. At any point, you can just enter the main menu, then exit the game. This is the core gameplay loop. So at the start of each level, the sleepwalker will start walking from point A to point B. Point B would usually be very clear because you're trying to get the sleepwalker back to bed. So, and then the player has to protect the sleepwalker by solving puzzles along the way, and then ensure that the sleepwalker reaches his destination safely. So these are references for the art theme, and the theme that we're going for is Malaysia. So a lot of very Malaysian like things, so like coconut trees, wooden frame beds, and then on the right there is a kampong style house. So these are references for the art style. So like I mentioned, we're going with crossy roads for our main inspiration. So character models will look like that, that like almost Lego blocky like style. And then that's an example of what a house would look like. in game. So this is the concept art done by our art team. So those are character models with different styles of pajama and nightwear, and then those are props to the right there. So coconut trees, bed, and then an example of what a house would look like from the exterior. So these are our game mechanics that we're implementing, that programmers are implementing. So there are buttons for, like I said, for camera rotation and all the on-screen UI stuff. So and then there's tabs, slides, and swipes. So these are primarily done for interactions with the puzzles and anything within the environment. So because we want to give the players as much field of view as possible, so we're going with 16 by 9 aspect ratio, and that lends itself well with landscape mode. So here is a game mock-up that the programmers have done. John was in charge of the camera angles, Kat did the sleepwalker walking patterns, Chip did the model design, then Brian did the prop interactions. So right there you can see the chair was lifted to let the sleepwalker walk uh, without any interference. So that's an example of what Jay will do to make sure the sleepwalker is unharmed. Right, so that is it for our presentation. Thank you for listening. Give us any feedback and ask us any questions as we move through here. Thank you.
Okay, main question on gameplay. Is it a fixed part that a sleepwalker is moving on? Okay, what I'm asking is it just a matter of moving things out of the way for sleepwalker? Or, I mean, clearing out the obstacles for fixed part for the sleepwalker? Or is the sleepwalker going to be, have a certain behavior and the player have to direct them through the day, back to the
Um,
day?
the sleepwalker will have a set path, but I think we decided on having multiple branches of that path. So not every single level will play the exact same way. There are probably like two or three paths that will
But
take them.
but at the start of the game is a fixed part.
Yeah.
So what is the fun in this game? Because it's just clicking on something and ooh, it's gone. Click on something, it's gone. So it's just how fast you click, right?
Um, it's not just removing obstacles, but it's also like finding things in the environment, solve puzzles. So, for example, like locked doors, you may need
Okay.
to find a key, then a cupboard.
How will you find the key?
You have to interact with the environment. You have to tap on the
Okay. So
cupboard.
is it going to be the same place all the time? I mean, if I know the level after I play through once or twice, it's going to be, oh, I know exactly where the key is. So it's just a matter of speed tapping, right?
Yeah.
Let's say the key is in the vase. I tap the vase, I find the key. I tap the door, I find the door. So where's the fun in that? What is
So,
the fun? What is the you said intellectual problem solving, I mean solving the puzzle is one of your form of fun, but what how do you solve, where is the puzzle actually? Or is it just memorizing everything and clicking everything in a sequence? How the player can play.
I think we decided on randomizing the solution. So the key may not be in the same place every single time you restart the level, for
Okay.
example.
Alright. So okay. Alright. So is will it be obvious how you solve that level?
The puzzles that we have right now that we're implementing, some of them are pretty obvious. So like For example, the one I said, the first one is the puddle on the floor, so you have to find like a piece of cloth somewhere and then swipe it off. But there are stuff that are a bit more complex. So in a later level, we want the sleepwalker to just keep following the cat in the house. So
Mm-hmm.
we want you to find ways to attract the cat, then make sure it goes to the sleepwalker's bed. So something like that.
So each level is going to be there's a certain condition or things that will change for the sleepwalker, lah, right?
Yeah.
So that will change the sleepwalker's behavior, lah. Okay, all right. Uh, how will you inform the player of that? Let's say, oh, he's supposed to follow the cat, and then you have to use lure the cat to avoid the obstacles. How will you inform the player about that?
I think at the start of the level, we would make it obvious that the sleepwalker is just following the cat. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say for like the first a minute or so,
Okay.
the cat will go somewhere and the sleepwalker will follow them, and then hopefully that says to the player, oh, in this level, he's following the cat.
Mm, okay. My question is actually at the end of the day is I'm asking is the solutions a set piece? You understand what I mean? Or is it something that the player have to use their ingenuity to figure out?
Um, we're hoping to do the second, the latter. We want
The
the players to
ingenuity.
think. Yeah.
Hmm. All right, all right. So this is something because this is something that you will have to you have to decide on very early in your game. Because the way you will build the game is very different between a set piece and using ingenuity, the player's ingenuity to figure things out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So your technologies that you're coding and all that will actually depend on which direction you're going. So if you want to choose to use the player have to figure things out rather than using a set piece solution, then it's slightly more complex. Does that make sense? Your set pieces is just fixed exactly how everything will go. Yeah. All right. So you
Okay.
have to really think more upfront, especially in terms of design, how you use different things in your level to make sure that the player can actually have fun figuring things out rather than, oh, this is a set piece. Oh, I know the solution for this. I just do this. I just click this. I just click. Okay. So your game
All right.
has that weakness lah. That runs a risk that the player will turn it into a set piece. Okay.
Okay.
Or yeah. So that's something that you have to figure out very early so that you can progress your game easily. Make sense? Yeah. All right. Cool. That's all my question. Otherwise, if you can make it into figure out replayable levels, then it will be a very interesting game. If it's set piece, then it's going to be quite boring lah. So if it's a figure out game, then I got no problem with this. Okay. Thank you very
Okay.
much. That's all my
Thank you,
questions.
sir.
Lichen, what you guys got?
Okay. Regarding the gameplay wise, I think Mr. Michael already giving a very specific feedback and comments, so I will not. I also agree with it. So let's see you guys how you guys to enhance based on the current idea. Lah. Can you go to the slide? Okay. Regarding the concept, what you create, I think is for me. I personally, I quite like this kind of style. Okay, I think also for you guys is achievable. Okay. Um, I think there's not much of not much of the problem here. Only problem is you need to come up with your workflow or you need to come up with a benchmark for your games because what I can see now is it's just what kind of modeling style are you trying to go and do? But also, of course, you also need to come out with a benchmark. Let's say example like you come out with a character, the benchmark, what you're going after you've done the props or what or how to say the progress, the workflow, how you're going to make the character and those props. You need to come up with a workflow and a benchmark for you guys, the whole team to follow lah. I would say, if you are already confirmed you want to go for the current style. Okay. Um. Of course, another thing is with the current style of the 3D modeling, it kind of it having a bit of difficulty on those on the animations. Okay, so you need to figure out a way is how you're going to make a make the animations based on the situation. Let's say like maybe you got jumping, like sleepy walking, these kind of things. You need to come out. So you need to know is are your model able to achieve that? You need to think on this. Let's see. Um, let's like others. Okay. Yeah. So as you can see, all those prompts, everything is pretty straightforward. Okay. So, yep, you guys can try to work on it because let's say example like if you follow the standard one, the building. Okay. Um, as you can see, it only having a very hard shadow. Okay. But the object itself is having some shading on top. So you need to come up with idea is when you're doing a texture, is it a necessary things you want to come up with you need to do the all the detail on top is cast by the light or is done by the diffuse map. Okay, because if you can imagine with this kind of style, even though it's no lighting, diffuse map it can help you a lot because you can just simply apply the color based on the different angle. It will casting the visual is like having the shading effect. Okay, so it's easy to achieve, but you need to try it out first because let's say example the left side the props and center one the shading the art style is different, so you need to figure out which one I really want to achieve. Then you set it down. Then you can try to maybe build 1 to 2 props and to set up the workflow yeah, as I mentioned before. Yeah, I think that's all. You guys can do the for the art team. I think you guys can start to do the preparation. Okay, to think how can you what is the way to achieve this kind of style, or are you able to achieve that? Can you do that or not? If no, then you need to figure out a way how you how to achieve lah, or you want to change the style. Okay, I think that's all.
Alright. From the tech side of things, right, can I look at the tech video a bit? Go one slide up. One slide up before this video. Okay. Let go back to the tech the video. I'm just curious. This is purely animation only, or this has actual uh implementation already? Like the nav mesh, how the character moves. It seems like you have
Uh,
some form of nav mesh there.
so I'm going to use nav mesh in the future, but for now, it's just a simple basic movement that I coded, hard coded it lah for it.
I see. So it's a really I see. Okay, because I can.
Yeah.
It's not pathfinding lah. Okay. I mean, it's nice that you have a mock-up, so that good for the tech. But when you want to try on the camera angles, all this, right? You really want
Mhm.
to test it, like in mobile phone situation. Like, is this make sense or not? at least the rotation thing, it looks nice. You can try it out in the. I think it's just animation swap, right? You should be able to trigger it in the phone as well. So you want to like test it a bit. Other than that, this is a nicely done mockup. So good job.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, all right. So the deck looks like it's all. Do you guys have any questions for us? Does the team have any questions for us? Overall,
I don't think so for
no
now.
questions.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Overall,
Thank you.
good job, guys. So it's just those few main concerns that we are pointing out lah. So once you solve that, you all can really get into getting things done already. Okay, awesome. So good job, guys. Thank you very much. All right, second team. Are you guys ready?
Yep, you're ready.
All right, let's start.
No, if it works. Yeah, the setup is a bit weird. The the requirement of showing the face cam is annoying.
Yeah.
Testing, okay. Can see without issues, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Can I begin, sir?
Yes, you can.
So, good morning, everyone. We are Team 2 Stock Feeding Studios. So, I'm Ang Chen. So, today I'll be presenting with my partner Wu Jianjin. So, let's begin. So, today we'll be repitching Mind Doctor. So, this new version of Mind Doctor is a 3D RTS plus Auto Battler with some strategic elements to it. So, the player will take on the role of a Mind Doctor. So, just like the previous game, you'll be curing your patient's mental conditions. What's different this time is that instead of just picking the values, you'll be using nanobots. You'll be controlling the nanobots to cure the patients. So how it works is that as you enter your patient's mind, then you deploy your nanobots to destroy these evil cells. So these cells are the ones that causing the patient's mental disorders. Oh, sorry. So so our unique selling point is the endless wave of patient's minds to play through, which gives it high replayability. So this one will follow a endless wave format. So each wave will represent one patient. So your goal is to try to go as far as you can. Essentially, try to kill as much patients as you can. So the intended user experience is that you want to balance your available units and resources while trying to achieve maximum efficiency when treating your patients. So it's a matter of how much can you afford versus what will be the most effective. What do you want for the situation. So we'll go more on detail in that later on. So our design pillars for this game is hitting the mind. So the first theme is safety first. So how this works is that you want to plan out your assault based on what information is available to you, right? So how much units can you afford, how much resources you have, and what enemy is available. So the reason why you cannot like just throw all you have in this one patient because so essentially why you want to be efficient is because you want to avoid running out of resources because that's how you lose. Right? So some examples is that so there will be various types of evil cells, various types of enemies. So each type of enemy will have their own effective nanobot counter. So relating to the previous point, so you want to plan out your assault based on what's effective, what you can afford. And then running out of units means that you cannot afford them anymore, and that means you cannot clear the wave, right? So that's how you lose. So running out of units and running out of the units, being unable to clear the wave, you'll end your playthrough. So you have to start over again if you want. So the next theme is renewable energies. So the main form of currency for this game is energy. So energy, you use it to spawn more units. Sorry. Energy, you use it to spawn more units, and you can also get perks to further help your treatment. So energy, you get it by defeating enemies and clearing your waves. And if you run out, unable to spawn anymore, that's how you lose. Energies. So I'll just go over some of the factors here. So the first off, the nanobots, which is what the player will be controlling. So again, this is spawned using energy. You get energy by clearing waves and defeating enemies. They have multiple types to counter the multiple enemies. They can be leveled up and upgraded. So you can see the concept art at the side. That's the concept art that our artist came up with. So the round one will be more of a basic lower level form. So, round is more simpler, less threatening. While the triangle one is more, it's a stronger version, probably a higher level version. So the weapons it looks more deadlier basically. For the evil cells, right? So as mentioned before, they have different types. So each type will represent different mental disorders, and these evil cells can serve as some sort of enemy tower. So relating a bit to the tower defense we had before. So they are something like a tower. They can spawn their own enemy units, which your units will intercept. So by defeating everything, means the enemy units and the enemy cells, you clear the wave. Means you save that patient and you move on to the next one. So just go a bit over the settings and premise. So essentially what we're doing, this whole controlling the mind nanobots thing is a futuristic concept, right? So the game will be set in a futuristic dystopian world. So in this world, body modification is more commonly accepted, which causes the people to be more susceptible to mental illnesses. Right? You care too much about the external, you forget about the internal problems. So again, just to recap, your roles and goals, you play as a mind doctor, and your goal is to help cure an endless stream of patients that are suffering from mental conditions. So I'll pass on to my partner Ujanji.
So for our control scheme and UI, essentially the game will kind of take place around the doctor being able to have like a 3D interactive representation of the patient's mind. So it's from a top-down view, as you can see on the right there, the first picture. Uh, so for most of the primary input method that we're going to use is tapping. So it's mostly just tapping and dragging and dropping certain elements. As you can see on the bottom right picture, we are trying to fuse like futuristic elements into the in-game UI so that it matches the setting and all that. Next slide please. So this is a short simple mock-up of our UI currently. So this one is without labels, so you can go to the next slide please. Yeah, so I'll just go over the important elements that we have here. First, from the top left, we have like a counter to show the player what level he's on now. So as you might recall, the more patients you treat, the harder it gets progressively. So it's essentially the difficulty counter. And then the big 2D picture of like a brain, as you can see in the middle of the concept art, is essentially where all the gameplay takes place on. So what we intend to have that is the visual representation of the brain that we mentioned. So that's where all the units will be spawned and where they will where they will engage in combat with the enemies. So the axes on the map, they represent the harmful cells that need to be killed. And at the bottom we'll have like a bar from which the player can choose to spawn whatever nanobots they want to. There'll be other stuff like the energy counter, as well as the ability for players to check on what units they've chosen to spawn before they actually commit to combat. Uh, as well as the amount of spawn hexes that you can place on the map to spawn those units, which will have a short animation right after this. Next one. Can you play the video?
I'll go ahead and play here.
Yeah. So this is a simple animation of what we have for now as the gameplay. So as you can see first, the player initiates a planning phase, and during this planning phase, they're able to drag and drop spawn hexes, which are where the nanobots will spawn from. So by dragging and dropping them onto the map, you can tap the spawn hex again, and tap again, and start queuing up the nanobots that he intends to spawn. You towards the enemies, and then they'll initiate combat. So once the combat is finished and it's cleared all the objectives required, they move on to the intermission uh, stage of the game where I'll go into detail later. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, then you got it.
Alright. Wait, just give me a sec. Let me reset. Okay.
Yeah. So after the completion of each round or each level, the player will be able to uh, start upgrading and choosing their perks. So this happens after each level. So these perks are randomized, but they focus on being situational buffs that can be very powerful potentially. So excess energy from that you didn't use on your previous levels can also be used to upgrade your nanobots. So these upgrades not only provide like just base stat upgrades, but they also will provide new abilities for the nanobots when reaching certain upgrade milestones. You can see here on the video. Okay, next. So finally, for our art style, what we're going for is like a futuristic color palette. So you can see a lot of blues, a lot of blacks. So it's more of a darker kind of futuristic tone though, since the tone of the game is also following in that. We're looking at making like a holographic UI for most of the game's UI. So you can see at the bottom right there the references for what we intend to achieve. All in all, we are trying to have the art style be matching to the cyber or futuristic aesthetic of the time period. And that's it for our.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Definitely looks more interesting. Okay, I have first question I have is how will your screen actually look like? Is it going to be the whole brain on your screen, or is it going to be part of the brain and you can scroll around the whole brain?
Right. For now, we are thinking that you won't be able to scroll past the boundaries of the screen. So there will only ever be that big of a brain on your screen.
No,
But
no, no.
we.
Mm-mm. What I meant is that is it okay? Your mobile screen is very small.
Okay.
So if you put the whole brain there, it's going to look very small actually. So
Okay.
is it one view you see the whole brain, or can you scroll around the brain? That means it's a larger representation.
More like a
It's,
interactable kind of thing, right?
no, as in you can only see one part of the brain at one time.
Mm,
Yeah, I get what you mean. So like
Ah,
so if this is the whole level, then it will appear very small because you're.
yes, correct.
So
Are you seeing the whole level, or are you seeing part of the level
right.
on the screen? Yeah.
Yeah. So for now, what we thought is that the level will you won't be able to go to the other like the level will only exist in one screen, right? You can't scroll up or down. Uh, that means like it will look very small to the player. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For
So
now,
that
that's
might be a yeah, that might be a problem because phone. Let's say if you are playing on an iPhone
yes.
6, the screen is extremely small. All right. Okay. Then how will your game actually look like and feel like? Will a person be able to even tap on a place that is so small properly in order to place a unit there or something like that? So that's my first concern. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I think in that case, we can go with what you mentioned, Nasser. We can consider the sections thing, so we can afford to make it zoom in a bit more to accommodate for the smaller screen size.
Yeah, correct. So it's one thing that you have to think about because you're going to be doing this for a mobile platform. So the screen real estate, we call it real estate, is very small for this type of game, and that's why you can scroll around the map. So I'll consider one brain is a map. Each brain is one map, and you can scroll around the map so that it can be larger, and your art artists will not have so much difficulty in representing your different units or different type of objects on the map much more easier.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
yeah.
Alright.
Visually, it also look much nicer. The second thing that I want to ask about in terms of gameplay is, will there be parts between your objective points and things like that?
Sorry, can you
Okay.
Max, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So will that be paths between our objective points, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, current what we decided on is that probably because the player has no actual direct control over
Yep.
the movement of
Exactly.
the units themselves. So
Exactly.
we are planning to make that part of the difficulty and part of the gameplay lah. As in, the
Okay.
yeah the way they because the only thing you can control is where they spawn. So you have to
Mm,
place their spawn points in a manner where strategically they gain the most out of being the closest to that objective lah. So
I see.
how they path is entirely AI dependent for now. So
Mm. So it's a behavioral pattern for each unit type, and you have
yeah,
to consider what behavioral pattern the unit has and where to place it.
yeah.
All right. I see. I see. Okay, that answers the question. All right. Can you give me an example of what sort of objective you will have for a level?
Yeah. So currently it's just to eliminate all three of the bad cells right on the map.
Okay.
Bad cells being the axis.
Mm,
But the bad cells will also be spawning their own enemy units to counter your units.
mm,
So uh, primarily it's achieving that, eliminating all
okay.
three. But we could see some. We did discuss about having like a side objective where maybe we could reward or penalize the player based on how efficient they do it, right? So if they are better at selecting what units are better for the job in that situation, then we can have an objective that kind of tracks that and then rewards them for if they do get to that, if fulfill that condition.
Can you
Th-
can you hear me?
Yeah.
no, we couldn't hear you just now. Now
Oh,
can lah.
Now
Now
can.
can.
now can. Okay. I DC'd for a short while and then it came back up.
Stop existing.
Yeah. Existential crisis. Hang on. Let me go back to the stream. Okay. Yeah. So why I'm asking this is I see one potential problem for this game and this type of game is will there be a dominant strategy of the player just mass spawning something? Where is the strategy in choosing what to spawn and where to spawn in terms of gameplay? Yeah.
Right. So I think I forgot to mention this. So
Mm-hmm.
each nanobot will have a corresponding uh, enemy cell that they're better against. So yeah,
Ah, okay, okay. So it's a rock paper scissors thing, lah.
yeah,
So against this cell, you want to launch out this type of enemy to fight.
yeah.
Okay, and then all that. So you have to basically it's more of a resource management game, correct? Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
I think it was mentioned also. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, okay.
Right.
So the focus is actually on resources, lah.
And then there's also the element of you cannot spawn too many lah, if not you run out of the energy.
Yeah, and also you will have a problem with the performance if you spawn too many things.
Right.
That's another problem. Okay, I see. I see. Okay. All right. Mm. So you have total no control over your units, right?
As of now, no lah. After you begin the wave, then yeah.
Okay. So each unit type will actually have its own behavior pattern.
Yes.
Correct. Have you all defined that behavior pattern yet?
So I think what we have in mind is like the how to say the corresponding weaknesses. Like they'll target what they are more suited to fight against.
Okay. What else? What happens if there are other conditions? So, well, I mean, what I mean is, let's say you're on the bottom left of the map,
Right.
okay, and then your closest preferred target is at the top right. Will you target the top right and then just move over there, or will you bunk down and defend this area? So I'm talking about what sort of variations in behavior are you looking at, and how complex is that variation of
Mm.
behaviors? Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't. I mean, we haven't really gone into detail regarding that.
Okay. All right.
Mostly it's just matching the corresponding opponent and like distance.
Okay.
Max, you want me to answer that?
If you
Alright, so hello, I am Alif from the tech team of Stop Eating.
Uh-huh.
And for your answer, to Michael, about your question regarding, what was it again?
The
variant.
behavior.
The behavior of the AI, right?
Yep.
So basically, we did talk about it. Uh, it's gonna go something like they will have levels of these bots. Like you will level up your bots
Oh.
as you progress more towards the more patients. You will have chances where you can level up your bots and you can actually choose which one to level up. And let's say for example your level one bot. The level one bot will only just this is just an example. Level one bot will just go to the closest enemy they find and just fight that one. So uh, where you spawn the bots are definitely a key factor to the game. And when you reach level 2, maybe they have an extra feature such as maybe the range bots will have extra range, or like the melee bots will have extra damage, stuff like that, simple stuff like that, or can
Okay.
be more complex. Maybe they will have a dashing mechanic or something like that, or
Mm.
any type of AoE spell or AoE anything. And then when you reach to the third level, you will probably get the one that Max mentioned, where the bot will be able to navigate and detect the corresponding cell that they are more prioritized to treat, and they will straightforward go to that one first. Maybe probably with an extra or with extra speed.
Mm.
So to help counter the fact that when they while they are going to the corresponding cells, they will be still attacked by the other enemies which they
Okay.
go through.
I
So
see.
maybe they will have more speed.
Okay.
But that will only be achieved when you have a certain amount of levels for the specific bot lah.
Mm.
So I hope that
Okay.
answers the question.
Okay. Yeah. Which brings up another question. So let's say if you level it up to level 3, will you still be able to use a level 1 behavior?
Yes.
So
Wait.
you can still
Wait.
spawn
So,
a level
hold
1
on.
bot. You can still spawn a level 1 bot instead of a level 3 bot.
Oh no. Once you reach level 3, then you can't really spawn the level 1. But like what I meant was like anything from the level 1 behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get that it's a different behavior. Like
Yeah,
it's
correct.
uh, maybe then you should probably consider to properly place your spawn tiles on
Mm.
where you want to spawn the bots to most
Yeah.
effectively effect attack your
Yeah.
cells. And also you might want to put like uh,
Mm.
corresponding cells that is nearest first to defend the ones that are going directly towards their goal. Maybe you will
Okay.
still have level 2 bots remaining, and then you can still, you know, more like a similar game that we referenced was
Mm.
Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
very similar.
So because the thing is, the main difference between your Clash of Clan and what you are saying here is that your behavior actually changes. Clash of Clan, when they level up, they just stats level up, but the behavior doesn't change.
Mhm.
So this is the problem you're going to face. You see, uh, I will suggest that you actually have different units for different behavior. So when you level up your bot to level 2, okay, you can still put a level 1 bot with that behavior. Because since you have already coded that, may as well use it as an additional unit that the player can then use based on his what's that called? The strategies you want to use instead of limiting the player by removing an option that he previously had before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the thing is, you can just make it simple. If you're worried that you have too many art assets to that you want to create, you can just make minor changes like because your image is not going to be very zoom in,
Yep.
it's quite
Yep.
high up. You can just make like color
Color
changes,
changes and all that.
yeah, something simple. This way you also have a lot more units and a lot more uh scalability in terms of what the player can actually advance to, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that the player
Understand.
can. So I think it's a plus plus by keeping the old behavior patterns as a separate unit lah. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Alright, thanks,
Really
sir.
consider that.
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So that's all my questions. Thank you. Oh yeah, one more question is, so when you go to a next patient, do you lose everything that you have built before?
Um, sorry, sir. You keep your units, but like whatever you spawn will be there, lah. Obviously,
I see. Okay, so you keep the units that you have created lah.
you keep your currency and everything, lah.
I see. You
But
keep
the
your
board is
currency.
quite clean. It's like it's a different patient.
I see. Okay, cool. That's all my questions. Thank you very much, guys. Good job.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very big announcement based on last week. Can you go to ask like
Last like
uh ask like
arts like
we go for the board design first.
oh okay, board design.
Yeah, we go for the board design. Okay.
Right.
So I think just now Mr. Michael come up with a very good point in this because most of the time when you play the game you are from top view, right? And it's not really like very zooming in. Okay. So that's why when you're doing the design you need to first based on your last slide, you already come up with your like sci-fi style holographic design, these kind of things. Okay, that one you still can follow it, no problem. But regarding your those robot design and everything, based on the current concept, I would say, mm, I think the reference image, what you found and the research what you did is not that enough lah. Okay, first of all, I would say uh you based on this design, I can imagine it when doing the gameplay. You can't really showing the differentiate based on. Of course, the most direct the differentiate both of them is based on. But for me, I think if you want to having more better visual differentiate for it, the shape also very important. So I think when you guys doing a design, you can put the focus on the how does it look in the top view.
Focus on the top view.
It's on the top view. Okay, that's the first thing. Of course, uh, and also when you design the robot, you can try to play around with a variation of the shapes. Let's say example, maybe number two robots. When you look from top view, if you more look like a triangle shape or more squarish, more sharper, and then the bullet is shoot out or what, this kind of things. The design also will be different. So it won't be so when doing the gameplay, visually it won't be too confusing when you're having this kind of very obvious different shape in them. And also look it will look more nicer lah, more interesting the design. But I saw it having a short arm. Having a is it having a mini attack or what?
Like his weapon, I would say.
But this game doesn't have the mini attack, right? Is it?
Mini attack.
That means
Maybe it does. Yes.
Melee. Ah, yeah, yeah. Melee. Melee is melee lah for now.
okay. Then you can, yeah. as the comment for yours the robot design, I will suggest you guys do for the art team, you can try to look for more reference first. No need to go for very complicated design. Think on the you can go for the symbolism one, but focused on the design from the top view. Yeah, think on how to make it look more interesting lah, I would say. Okay, because you need to fit back you need to match back the design of the wires, the shell design, and also the overall the holographic, the futuristic design also. So you cannot be too like too jump tone. Suddenly like your nanobot is look like those matrix robot inside. Yeah, that one is a bit too different. I would say. Okay, keep it simple. Then you can got more time to do the polishing around the around your levels. Because even though your levels, when I look at it, I can imagine um a lot of things you can play around. Let's say example like when you're selecting the area, the cube, the honey cube, the corn, the area there, you got something lights up effect on the bottom,
Yeah,
doing the
highlighted.
highlighted effect, the gap, doing the gap effect, having some lights come out. You got a lot things to polish the game, a lot. Okay, so I would like to ask you guys like keep it simple and and of course the art style, the direction have to be correct. After that, do more polishing, do the polishing on it. Okay, I think just the those uh the better effect everything the you and also the shell impossible like just one things like moving around, right? Of course on the surround it you need to having some little effect or when having some moving motion, these kind of things. Yeah, these kind of small little things it will enhance the overall game the gaming experience. So it's worth to invest your time on it rather than like why you come up with a triple S style robot then you put inside your game. But actually inside your game you only can look from the top view and nothing to see. You can't really see the front detail. Yeah, wasting all your effort. Okay, no point to doing that. Thinking on what is the think on the think to analyze it, which is which one is benefit you the most and you are worth for you to invest your time and effort into. Okay, yeah, I think regarding us, I think that's all from me. Any question from you guys?
Artist, Joffrey?
Hello.
Yep,
Yes.
hello.
Uh, no. Sorry. I still have one question. So regarding the robot design, you said that you should find more reference.
Mm.
So you say looking for more reference of like a more specific robot style, but at the same time, it has to look good from a top-down view perspective, correct?
Mm. Of course, the top down. Of course, is up. If I ask you to look for, oh, you need to find a specific style for the top view your robot. Of course, it's very hard for you to find it lah. But at least you find the reference which is you think is suit for your game, for your for the art style of your game. Then you base on it come up with the design on the top.
Okay. So
Mm.
with the designs I have, does it look too complex to you, or is
Uh,
it?
I would say it's too simple, and I can't if because when I look at it, I will imagine it when I put inside to the game. How does it look like? And is it will too over complex or is it suit to your game? So based on my opinion, is I think it will be overly too simple because if I look just put into it from the current design to the game, I can't really differentiate what is the these two robots. Okay, so let's say example like maybe I just take your the number two robot as an example. If today the front the triangle design, if you moving out a little bit, and also the triangle design having some neon light effects around it. So when you put inside your game from the top view, when I look at it, at least I can straight away based on look at it based on my first sign, I know, okay, this one is a different robot. The color is different, the shape is different. So the characteristic of outside the design is different also. So that's the thing I want. Because based on yours, the current one, of course the leg I don't think I can see we can't see much inside the game. If just based on the body itself, yeah, not much different between it.
Alright. Okay, shit.
So you need to think on it. You as a game artist, you always need to think on like when you during your gameplay, how does it look like? Okay. No matter so based on your design, no matter how nice your robot legs look like, actually it's a bit hard for you to see. So that's why since it's a bit hard for you to see the design of the leg, so maybe you can think on a way to represent it the leg lah, the legs. Okay.
Legs. Okay. I see.
Uh, so I think yep, I think you guys can find try to come up with a new design for next week. So I can like let me see how does it look like. Okay. Of
Okay.
course don't too jump soon. If your virus shell is look like this and the overall environment is look like those like holographic like projection like that, of course the robot need to at least follow a little bit lah. Okay. Don't too don't make it too different.
Okay.
Mm.
Alright.
Okay. Okay, I think that's all from my side.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Um, I don't have much feedback right now because I can't really picture how the camera angle will work in on your game lah.
Camera angle.
Yeah. So it will be like a sphere circling around that you can rotate around, or
Look at
it's like a hexagon map
yes,
that fixed angle.
yes, fixed angle.
I see.
But
So
but then Miss Michael did mention about the zooming out part, so we might consider that.
I see, I see. Okay. Yeah, because it doesn't feel too 3D to me lah, but should be okay and if you want to do a zooming like an RTS, that's okay. But it's kind of forced on top lah, that from
Or
my
like a
view.
zoomed with an angle, like something like that. The angle from
Yeah, basically RTS lah, the modern RTS where you can zoom in to check. Uh, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking like, would there be a nicer way if the thing is rotatable? But yeah, that works too. Is there any mechanic implement on the zooming, like aside from just viewing the details? Will there
I
be
mean,
any usage in terms of gameplay for the zooming?
zooming. I mean, actually, initially we didn't actually plan to put in the zooming mechanics. We just wanted
Okay,
it to be
okay.
one map, which is
Mm.
just the brain, and then the whole brain is visible from a top and a little bit of an angle view, similar
Okay.
like a Clash Royale type of view.
But
And then
okay, I have one I'm not sure if any of you play the Deus Ex hacking mini game or not. It
no, never heard of the game.
hang on, I'm sharing the video. Give me a moment. Trying to find the gameplay. Okay. Yeah, I think this you can refer this one. So it's kinda like what you want to do, but yours is a bit of how does your RTS work in detail? Like you want to control and block something from an AI advancement, right? Or you just set up a path and then let the whole simulation go through.
Yeah, I think it's more similar to that lah. So you spawn your units,
You wait
deploy
until the
units.
you let the simulation go through lah. So it's like you set
Yeah,
up then wait, kind of like a tower defense ish.
tower
Similar to
defense,
tower
but
defense, yeah.
yeah, in this
Okay.
case you're more attacking than defending.
Okay. I mean like you can refer this one. This one is more real time where you want to set and fortify. It's kind of still tower defense, but it actually um you can like fortify firewall, and then before the network has been hacked and breached. So gameplay wise, right, this feels like inside a brain, but because this is cyberpunk, so it's kind of like on the internet digital network lah. So the representation can actually be easily switched over to fit into your context. Uh, you can try to look at the 2011 version and the 2016 version. I never played the 2016 version, but I think I can't remember. I think it's called Deus Ex Human Revolution hacking game. Let me try to find. Yeah, it kind of has like the setup phase as well. So, like before you start triggering alarm, and then it will try to counter your setup, things like that. So it's actually a very fun game on its own. Even if you do want to play the RPG, right? Focus on playing the hacking game is super fun, really. So I
Okay,
think
yeah,
it
we
will be
can.
a good reference for you.
Yeah, we can definitely look
Yeah.
into this.
Okay. I think that's pretty much my feedback lah. Yeah, because I still haven't get to see how it will turn out. So I'm not really sure. Like, will there be technical difficulty? What I can think of a potential technical difficulty is if you want to implement the zoom, right? How you want to zoom into a 3D angle? That part, right? You want to think of a calculation where you can rotate, make the camera to smooth out, and then zoom in, and drag zoom in a 3D space lah. It's slightly different than a standard top-down zoom in. So that will be something that you guys might want to like research more for tech lah, because I will cover like basic drag zoom, but not in the very RTS way. So this one you need some modification. Okay. So yeah, that's all my feedback.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir.
Alright, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. That was interesting. I think this game has quite some potential. Yeah. All right.
I'm glad to hear that, sir. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Actually, both games so far has potential. Okay. So, okay, third team. Are you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So,
Is everything clear? Like the thing, the slides is it showing?
Uh, I'm only seeing. Oh, yeah. See. Cool. I can see your slide. Thanks.
Okay. Wait. So uh, I think I'll start now. Okay, so hi, we're Team Now Creators, and this is our game Underdogs Gun Show Standoff. This is the table of content for our slides. So this is the Now Creators team. For designers, there's me, Chipin. There is Samuel Nathan. For artists, there is Ryan Cole and Min Long. For programmers, there is Xian Yong, Zheng Jie, Min Jane, and Liza. So for a brief game description, our player is playing as one of the underdogs, a, a ex-military elite group of mercenaries. So our game is a method for the soldiers to join the underdogs. So the players are chosen to fight in a standoff. Winners live and losers die. So the winners get to join the underdogs while the losers die. So for the game level design, so for our game, there is five gun types. So each gun has three levels: easy, normal, and hard. For the game,
for the difficulty, for the easy part, there is complete assembly of the gun to complete the level. For normal, there is complete assembly of the gun and three criteria to complete. For the hard, there is complete assembly of the gun plus five criteria and limited amount of attachment that the player can use. So for each level, there is a 3-star achievement. So how do you receive the stars? So by, you can receive a star by completing assembly of the gun, or you have completed the gun under a X amount of time, or you complete the performance criteria, or you successfully execute the QTE. So each level ends with a quick time event to determine the final outcome of whether the player lives or dies. So the players need to complete each level to unlock the next gun. So based on the stars collected from the previous levels, they can unlock the guns of their choice for their next level. And so that's all for me. I'll pass it on to Sam.
Thank you, Shipin. So I'm Sam from Team Nerd Creators, and first I'd like to talk about the game flow. So the player starts the game by selecting the gun type they would like to play. Next, they select the level they would like to play. So there's three levels. And once the round begins, they start to assemble the gun. And after assembly, there's a quick time event to fire the gun. And if the QT is successful, they get to move to the next level. And if they fail, they can restart or go back to the main menu. Now about the gameplay. Uh, you need to drag and connect color-coded and numbered parts to assemble the gun, but that's just for the base gun. There are a few attachments that can be used for the gun, but they are not color-coded or numbered. Players can also customize and build the gun to suit the performance criteria, and this is up to the player's creativity on how they want to do it. The player also need to assemble the gun before the timer ends, and upon assembly, they will need to complete a QTE to fire the gun before the enemy timer bar is completed. Next slide. Okay. For reference, we use World of Guns and Escape from Tarkov for their gun customization mechanic. So as you can see in the two GIFs. And also another reference is a Airsoft Speed Duel video on YouTube. As you can see, there's two guys competing to build their gun, and the first person to shoot wins. So this is where we got our main idea concept from, and also it suits the theme he or she shot first. For the concept art, the art style will be low poly 3D and cartoonish style. So on the left, you can see a low poly 3D weapons, and on the right, sorry, on the left is cartoonish style weapons, and on the right is low poly 3D. Okay, for mockup screen, so at the top you can see a menu, a tutorial screen, and option screen. And at the bottom is a gameplay mockup screen. So on the left you can see the criteria and the timer, and on the right is the color-coded parts. And finally, the tech mechanics. So for the camera, it's a top-down view camera and it's static, and the game is played in a landscape mode. For player controls, players will need to tap to lift up objects, tap and hold to move the objects, and double tap to drop them. There are a few interactive buttons to move objects vertically and to rotate them around. Players will also have to move parts close to each other to snap them in place. And for the game mechanics, there's a gun criteria system. There's a time-based score system where players will need to assemble their gun before the timer ends. There's a cutscene system where different cutscene is played based on how they perform during the QTE, and a star score system where players are rewarded based on their performance after each level. And that's the end of our pitch. Thank you for listening.
Okay, awesome. Cool. So basically, all right. Okay. One question I want to ask is, how accurate is the fitting together you're going to have for your gun fitting? Is it going to be like snap together, or the player have to really adjust the gun to fit them together properly?
It, it's more of a outdoor snap. When the parts are close together, they will snap together.
I see. Okay. All right. Okay. So you need to know the sequence of what should be snapped together. Or is there going to be a sequence, or they can just snap anything?
The sequence doesn't matter, sir. It's
Mm,
just like they need to fit the part just on the correct spot.
I see. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's say you take this one and then you snap that one together and then snap, 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 and then it's complete lah. And
Yeah.
then you have the modification part. So how will the modification part work? Is it just snapping uh
It's snapping.
upgrades together?
It's
Or how?
snapping the attachment to complete the criteria. So we'll give them like criteria to
Mhm.
like uh they need a balanced gun, so they will put like a under barrel, and then they will put uh
Mm.
a stock and a bigger stock on the gun. So we'll give them
Uh,
like all the attachment, so they will need
mhm.
to figure out on how they wanted to snap the pieces
I
together.
see. I see. So there will be different pieces and they can choose which piece they want to use to meet the criteria lah.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. I think that will be quite interesting. Okay. That's all my questions I have. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Uh, I think overall, the presentation is quite straightforward and also the preparation is quite good. So yeah, ask this is the art style of the gun, compliment style, low poly. So sorry asking, is the gun you will come up with your own design or based on the real
we base it on the real life guns.
real? Uh, do you guys estimate how many are you going to build?
Sorry, sir. Yeah, it's cutting off a bit.
Sorry. Do you guys estimate how many guns are you going to build?
For now we have 5 gun types. For
Mm, okay, five gun types. Okay, so that means mm, you need to build it when the artist going when they're going to build it, you need to build it separately lah. Means all the component, everything need to be snapped properly. Okay.
yeah.
I think I think in terms of the modeling side, it shouldn't be a big problem lah. Everything is quite uh, pretty straightforward. Maybe later on uh, is those UI and when after you build the gun, when you're shooting the parts, the effect, everything's maybe you guys can think on it how to make it more interesting because when you just like building a gun is a bit uh, a bit boring. So that's why when you after you build the guns, when the component parts when they are snapping together, those maybe that kind of effect, maybe the sound effect, everything. Yeah, that's the all the small things which is can enhance the overall gaming experience. Okay,
Okay.
that one I think you guys can think on it and also try to find it out later how to enhance the overall experience. But for the current one to get our team to come up with the overall the gun design, the gun modeling, I think you guys can just proceed lah. That one is no problem. Okay,
Mm,
pretty straightforward. Okay.
okay. Okay.
Any question from your side? Any question you want to ask?
Arts, do you guys have anything to ask?
Yep.
For now, there's nothing.
Okay. So if no, then you can just uh, you can choose the gun you want and you try to build out in simple version the mod sorry yes the simplified version. Okay, yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Both of them have the same. Creative assembly as in how? Yeah, they also need to meet the criteria. So if they don't have a butt stock, then if the criteria doesn't need that, then they can do it lah. Yes, it's a PvE game. I forgot to start my mic recording. Okay, so for PvE, the AI side, I was thinking you might need to um simulate mistakes made by the AI, which is actually a much more harder to make it like a normal AI, because if you do a perfect AI, you will have almost no way to win it one. So this is something to take note lah for the tech. When you want to, like, are they prone to mistakes, or like they are perfect and then you just fake their timing? Because if you have a constant timing for the AI side, right, it will probably end up that, once you realize the game is like that, they can just try to beat the AI by, okay, this AI will definitely complete in 30 seconds, then I just need to do it within 30 seconds, I can win it. So you may encounter blunt gameplay experience later down the road if you are solely rely on AI lah. Of course, like, if you, it's nice to have that this kind of gameplay will you combine with actual multiplayer, or the other way I can think of is that you make this to be like a shooting range challenge, where after you combine, then you have an actual shooting um, part where there's no AI versus you. So your challenge will be purely on your dexterity, skill, and accuracy lah. Like, okay, if you, for as for example, like, I don't have a butt stock, I can make my gun quicker, but when I shoot the range for the accuracy test, right, I will be easily missed due to the higher recoil. So it will become a part A and part A part B challenge for the player to have the total tallied score. So maybe this can be a way uh, um, to enhance this experience lah. So this is something to take unless you figure out a way to make the AI to be challenging. Then maybe you want to think of how what are the alternatives. Yeah. So that's my feedback lah for this one.
Oh, okay, sir.
All right.
Okay, that is actually a very interesting suggestion. Uh, Maybe after you fit your gun together, you need to shoot shoot at things at a shooting range to show the performance of the gun that you put together. Yeah. So it's just something you can think about. Okay. Does your team have any questions? Any question from your team?
I think for now there's no question
No
for me.
questions. Okay, awesome. So thank you very much. That was very interesting. All
Okay.
right.
Thank you,
So
sir.
you're welcome. All right. Now what we will do is, I think you all have presented and gotten your feedback from all of us. I think we can split into our individual teams. Oh, I haven't set up the. Sorry, ah. Okay, I'm going to set up a channel for design, art, and tech. All right. So we can split up into our separate streams, and then have our individual discussion with our lecturer for additional input and things like that. Okay. Okay, I just created design 2 tag. Okay, just use one of the stream first, the text stream. I'm lagging a bit. All right. So we can split up into our separate streams now for additional consultation if you want. Okay. So designers, I will see you guys in the design stream. Okay. All right. We can split up now. Thank you.
Okay, so any questions? I probably will stop my recording here first lah. This is a bit more too specific already.